What up, what up, what up, everybody? It's your boy Lonzo Starr, CEO and founder of Concrete Comics, writer, creator of the legendary Acolyte. And we back again, man, with a special Concrete Approved. We got somebody really special in here today, somebody that's been, monumental in my career. One of the first, I would say black-owned convention owners and just entrepreneurs I've met on my journey that's definitely inspired me a lot. And without further ado, Jay
Hey,
Rich, what up? How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling, busy, but
Busy but
got
chilling.
a, got a lot of irons in the fire at the moment.
Nah, bro. Listen, I was scared to ask you to be a part because I know that schedule be crazy, man. So
Yeah.
I'm just I'm very appreciative of you pulling up, man, and representing, keeping it concrete by coming on the, concrete approved, man, because J1 Studios is definitely concrete approved. Jay Rich is concrete approved, and we about to get into that, man, for sure.
Yeah. I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Say less, man. So the first question I got for you, man, for those of you that may not know who this man is that's sitting across from me is, who are you and what exactly do you do, bro?
All right. Well, people know me as J Rich, Spider-Man, all kinds of other things. Mr. J1, apparently. Um, I own J1 Studios. We're a production company. We make comics, novels, games. We work on just everything in entertainment. We also do news and reviews of comics, games, and all the sort. But me personally, I am a comic book writer and artist. I've worked on Western style books, Japanese influenced books. I'm a voice actor. I'm a director, storyboard artist, but there's a million of those. Um, I've also, oh man, what haven't I done, or what have I done? All right, so at one point, I got to get back into it, but yeah, I model, which I don't know how this mug gets on there, but I
I'm
do
gonna
it.
do it all, y'all.
I'm a game developer, and I own music festivals. I own conventions. I created one of the first black female leads that had her own manga and stuff,
Mhm.
and
That's fire.
with the mascot of the company, Super Bounty J1. Her name is J1.
Bro, it's so much to unpack with you, man. It's,
Yeah,
it's like it's like just when I was thinking about this interview, I was like, well, damn, what what do I want the people to know? Because it's like it's so much I could have pulled from. I could have asked you like this, and we could have had a whole interview about that. Or I could have
yeah,
asked you about film. We could have had a whole interview about film. They
yeah.
would have never known you did comics.
Directing
You
for
created,
years.
you know
Yeah,
what I'm
been
saying?
directing for years. Uh, been working on TV shows, commercials, movies. I've had commercials that ran on Cartoon Network and stuff like that. I voiced some of the commercials that aired on Cartoon Network.
Fire.
I was the voice of the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City for all their sales
Mhm.
videos and stuff like that. So welcome to Atlantic City Showboat Hotel, where you can enjoy the amenities of, all that kind of stuff.
It's fire, bro.
Or movie trailer stuff, come out to this event, all that kind of thing.
So my
Uh,
question, man. So let's unpack this young menace, man. Where you from? Where you grow up at, and did that play a part in who you are?
uh, I was first in my family born in America. Family is from Jamaica, and I'm Jamaican and Panamanian.
Right.
And I was born in West Philly.
Born
Eventually,
and raised.
yeah, right. And then at one point, I moved to Delaware County. I went to high school out there, and I moved all around a lot. I stayed in Miami for a bit. I've lived in Atlantic City. I've been all over the place. But I travel a lot for fun, for work. Sometimes I used to get the pleasure of doing stuff like going to LA and doing stuff over
Yeah.
here in the different studios. Um, Ever since COVID, things kind of came to a halt.
Right.
Plus I had a kid, then followed it up with another kid.
Double back real quick with it, man. Hey, yeah, I mean, it happens, man. It happens.
I don't know. Yeah, right. Like
when you spin the block, man, you never know what you're gonna come back with, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Shooting up the club,
But no, but that's fire, man. So West Philly, you went to the county, and it's. I think that was one of the dopest things I found out about you was that how we were brought up was very similar. I'm from Philly, moved out to the county, Lansdowne to be specific, and Penwood High. And come to find out, that's where you went. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Man, it's a small world, man. You know what I mean?
Look.
Hey, listen, shout out to Penwood High, man. We out here, heavy, man. And no, bro, that's fire. So you're the firstborn in your family, firstborn in America. And like
first generation.
Did you always know you was gonna be doing something like this? Like back when you was a little young, 6th grader, 7th grader, was this like
even before then. I was into Spider-Man heavy when I turned 3 because my mom decorated my entire room in Spider-Man.
So it's fire.
As I went to leave to go to Jamaica to be with the rest of my family for the first time.
Yeah.
And I kept calling back, like asking about like, is Spider-Man okay? Like that's what they were telling me. Like I was always trying to like call and ask about Spider-Man. And then now like years later, my office is littered with Spider-Man stuff. My kids are named Jonathan Parker and Miles Jackson, and they have an Uncle Ben. Like,
bro, that's hilarious, bro.
And then like I got the pleasure of I did art for Sony for Spider-Man 2. It's in my office on the back wall over there. But I did cool little illustration. And because I'm also a movie critic and stuff, like, I get to do those premieres or even screen the movies before they even come out.
Mm-hmm.
So that I could do the reviews, but then the studios like will hit me up with like little extra perks, like, hey, Spider-Man, you want a shirt, like.
Right. No, I think that's fire, man, and I think that's what really was dope when I found out about not only where you were from, high school and stuff. It's just like I didn't meet too many people from around the way that did what I did. So when I met you, I was like, sheesh. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't know. And
I was in this stuff heavy. Like I wanted to do this at a young age. I'm a lot older than I look. But I was obsessed with Nintendo and like Nintendo Power, like the magazine. And I wanted to be a game developer and a comic book artist. I mean, probably at least at 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And around around that time, I started like, I think I was like 12 and I actually started making games. Like I was always making comics as a kid. Like I was so obsessed with Transformers animated movie that I drew the entire movie on copy paper and colored it.
That's fine.
Like shot for shot, line for line, like the entire feature film. But then I started making games on the Apple IIe, the black screen with the green letters.
Hey man,
I
remember you showed me some of them old consoles, man, in that very office that you're in now, and I was blown away, man. Because a lot of
I got some. I have everything from Atari to PS5.
Fire. Oh yeah, no. And I saw some other systems that I never even knew about too. I mean, some drones that were only in like Japan or something crazy like that.
Yeah, because I did a lot of I worked for importing company and stuff like that, and then I had connects over there, so I was like heavy into the gaming. So I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
so I have a PCFX, which is like it looks like a computer tower, but it's a
yeah,
gaming console. Um,
that's all right, man.
but yeah,
So
like I've been doing this stuff since I was a kid. Like I made games, and I made different types of games, from action games, what I considered like martial art game or fighting games,
yeah,
uh, sports games, military games, all kinds of like games, and then I would sell them to people in the neighborhood, from like teachers to homies,
yeah,
like guys, girls, everybody. But I was so obsessed with Nintendo. I even made like packaging, and
right.
I made like sleeves out of cardboard, and it was a big floppy disk, like the actual flop disk.
Yeah, I
So
remember floppies. I
yeah,
remember floppies. Pray to God.
listen, I would put instruction manuals in there because Nintendo, the NES had the best manuals.
Yeah,
Genesis had they had tall manuals, but they were always in black and white, and there was only
yeah,
a few
yeah.
pages. The NES would make these like landscape ones that were in full color with art in there,
Mhm.
like all this like beautiful art. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do like something like that. I would sell these, and then I made a magazine that gave you tips and tricks on how to beat my different games, because I would pre-program different codes and all this
Yeah.
other stuff in my games. I was like 12 when I was doing this. And I would sell subscriptions, like monthly subscriptions to people so
Homeboy
that
was way ahead of his time, y'all. Way ahead of his. So basically, you were Game Pass back then.
I was trying to be Nintendo. Even
Yeah,
at 12, I wanted to be the NES. I wanted to be like Nintendo because I was so obsessed with the NES.
yeah.
So and then Nintendo Power came out, and I was like, "This is great! A magazine that shows you." Like, I would make the maps and all that stuff on some of my games, like where hidden stuff
Right.
were, and I would throw comics inside the magazine because they had a comic. Um, it was Ned and Nestor.
Hmm.
They were like these two guys who would talk about video games, and like, so I just put comics based on some of the games that I was making. So
Yeah.
so it was a whole thing. I had like a whole like production that I was doing.
So it's crazy because with my next question is kind of like I can see where some of your inspirations are from, but I really want to hear like where did like was there people, was there somebody in the back of you that was pushing you, man? So who or what are your inspirations, man? Like what was it that was it all just self motivation, or was there somebody that you saw older than you that may have been playing games or may have been doing something or
No, there wasn't really like that. I mean, my mom is the one who got me into the NES and like Atari and stuff.
right?
But outside of that, my mom worked at the University of Penn bookstore back when it was like a tiny little store. Now it's like this huge, giant
Yeah.
like
Like
building.
damn, man, I drive around the neighborhood. I don't even know what's going on anymore, bro.
Right. So like back then she would bring home like books and comics and stuff for me from her
Mhm.
job. Like she would buy them, bring them back, and I'd be like, yeah, and I just get into it, and that's how I got into comics. Um, but I remember my grandmother had a store on 52nd Street, and there was this homeless guy that would always come by, and she would always give him money. And what he was actually doing was taking some of the money and saving it up, and he bought me my first art set.
That's fire, bro.
And he was like, "You're gonna be a great artist someday." And his name was Eugene, and like I was
Bro,
like 5 then, and like at that point, I was just like, I'm gonna do art.
hey, bro, you know what's crazy, bro? And it might be a coincidence, right? Because that story you just told me just touched me, right? Because I remember this is my first time I was doing my first live show as a rapper. It was down at Club Rain, downtown or whatever. And I was nervous, whatever, boom, boom, boom. And we walking down the street. It's a Friday night, so it's packed down there.
Yeah,
So and I remember there was this homeless guy sitting on the ground, and he was just saying random things to people as they walk by. And I'm walking by. He looked at me. He said, "Yo, I know you." you're gonna be that guy that everybody know. You're gonna be that famous dude. And that stuck with me, bro. Like for real. Like that really because out of all them people, I was like, why would he say that to me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm headed to this thing I never done before, nervous as hell, and you know what I mean. So to hear that you had something similar like that is crazy, bro. Because to
Right.
see who you are, see who you turned into, or who you're turning into, because you're nowhere near where you're gonna be. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but
Right. It never.
but
If you really
but
love it, it never ends.
it never ends. But no, it's hearing that is fire, bro. That's you know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes I feel like those people that you don't expect to get that type of information from be the people sent there purposely to tell you that at that specific moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was saving money. He was just getting money from your grandma, and then he did that for you. That's crazy.
Right. My my grandmother, she was doing very well for herself. So
Yeah,
it wasn't like she, needed the money, but it was he went out of his way to take the money that she gave him for food and
yeah,
stuff to I guess plant the seed of creativity.
yeah. Nah, bro, that's crazy right there, Brian. You know, that's a very humbling job because people, some of these things like this happen to people all the time, but sometimes they don't realize the message that they're getting sent to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm glad that you realized it. You know what I'm saying? To say, wait, say less. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Like, I was like, all right, all right. Um, but yeah, like that was one of the start off inspirations. And as I grew and got older, I had connections to like anime and stuff before it was like a thing that was like publicized. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't
Yeah,
a thing for the public to consume yet because of the jobs that I've had. And even in high school, I was like really into anime, but anime was this weird unknown thing to a lot of artists at the time
for
because
sure.
we're talking like early 90s. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like anime wasn't out there like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah. Nah,
so it was just a thing. And one of my favorites was like, well, I love Ninja Scroll. I love Fatal Fury. The
yeah,
motion, the both the OVAs and the motion, everything by Masami Abari. That guy is like my favorite artist of all time. And even the team that made the Street Fighter 2 animated movie, like,
yeah,
and I was big into the Capcom artists. You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
so
yeah.
many
Not
inspirations
all them
from
cats
Bruce
inspired.
Timm. Like my art style is literally a mix of like Bruce Timm, the '90s Capcom art team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sprinkled in with like influences from like Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane. Yeah, so there's so many like different artists now, and it's
first
funny.
class.
A lot of my friends who animate the DC animated movies, that's literally the same lineup of inspiration
Yeah,
that they do when they were working on like the art style for Young Justice.
hmm,
Like so, when I was over in LA, we were just sitting down and having brunch one time. And we were just talking about it. It was like, yeah, Capcom was a huge influence. Like when like
yeah,
Street Fighter, like Super Street Fighter 2 and the Alpha series, like
yeah.
that art style was like in
Question: how do you feel about the new Street Fighter right now?
um it sucks that I can't play it as much as I want because I absolutely love the game.
Yeah,
Um, I've been playing it since the beta, and I've just been loving it nonstop. And
I ain't gonna hold you. I've seen some crazy Zangiefs out there, man.
well,
Some
Zangief's
crazy,
one of my mains. Like
I,
since
I've seen some crazy Zangiefs out there, man.
I mean,
Getting it in.
for decades, like Zangief was like one of my favorites. And I'm just like, yo, he's a beast. He was a beast in 4.
He's a
I,
monster, bro.
I did not like Street Fighter 5. I'm gonna just say that now. I've never hated a Street Fighter game until Street Fighter 5. Like, I was so mad. I was so mad at that game. But I love Street Fighter 6. I love everything they've done. I bought the special edition super pack.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, like
it's fire, man.
A Luke figure over there. Here's some of the backdrops that came with the box.
Oh, that's fire.
Like it's a little stage you set up where you can put Luke and Kimberly.
Oh yeah.
Like
but
I got the art book, the soundtrack, like everything.
Yeah. So I got a question before I go to the next one, right? Because it was kind of based off of some of the things that you've said in your inspirations and, all the stuff that you was able to experience, right? Do you feel you were born too early, too late, or at the perfect time to be doing what you're doing right now as well?
I thought about that a lot. Because, it depends on what part of my business you're talking about.
Yeah.
And for me, I created and owned J1Con, which is the longest running Black-owned anime convention in the world. That's
a fact.
I wish I had started it maybe like 4 to maybe 5 years early. I think there would have been a lot. It'd have been very different.
So you're saying like 5 years?
But I mean, with the progression of what I've done, but just move it like 4 years earlier.
Yeah. No, because I feel like when I asked that question about, if you feel you were born, at the perfect time, which I obviously I feel like yes, because of what you're doing, but you were able to experience a lot of things, like the birth of a lot of stuff, which inspired, some of the things that you created. But if some of the people that were born in 2000, 2005, they understand, the gaming systems, but they were born into them when they were evolving at a high level already. We was there when they was one button.
I remember the Atari. I remember the NES. Like the NES blew my mind.
Right.
Like I was like, this is like amazing, and like just oh man, the fear, the joy.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Is like I think we've lost a lot of that joy in entertainment since the creation of the internet. Even though the internet has definitely created a lot of avenues for a lot of us to do things, well, cats can come out of nowhere and just blow up randomly in the industry because of the internet. But for a lot of us, we had to fight.
We had to fight for it, man.
Just to be able to, like the fact that you can go on just Instagram and make a post and it could actually reach people around the world, you would have to pay like tens of thousands of dollars for that kind of reach in the days before internet, before social media.
No, I believe that because I have so much appreciation for the people that were doing it pre the internet blow up, because even what I'm doing with the comics, if I hadn't have done music first, I wouldn't have known what it's like to be really in the trenches to promote myself, because I feel like a lot of people that are doing comics right now wouldn't be here if there wasn't the internet.
If there was no internet, there's a lot of people who wouldn't know how to hustle. That's the real one.
Exactly.
And like you can pay for a boost to get more views on your stuff. Like I'm from the era where like you had to just do that. You had to
out in the trenches.
Travel. You had to physically travel, and like what got me even recognized when I first started J1 Studios was that I was literally on the road
On the road.
with comic books of ours, like
Yeah.
selling
And
that
it's
stuff
crazy. It's
raw.
crazy. All the stuff people see you doing online is like a small percentage of what you really do.
Yeah.
You know, people
I mean,
don't
I
know about the
got to work on
driving out
anime
to,
and stuff. Like that's
yeah,
dope. Like, like,
yeah.
but I was doing all this kind of stuff. It's funny. Like the amount of stuff that I've done and the stuff I've done, like cool things, like with people,
Hmm.
I would be somebody who would have my own Pixar if I had started it like years earlier or what have
2
you.
years earlier. Yeah.
Um, the fact that like I know Marvel actors personally, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I know directors of like the top shows in
Yeah.
cartoons right now. I could literally call them up and be like, "Yo, what you doing? I'm gonna
Right.
be in the area," or they might even hit me up when they come to the East Coast and be like, "Yo, what's good? Where
Yeah.
we
Right.
going to party?" And I'm like,
Where we at with it?
"Right." Like I've been blessed with a lot of cool stuff, but a lot of the stuff it sounds out. Not I want to say outdated, but kind of like the fact that I've got to do stuff with like the RZA.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of new generation hip hop artists don't even know how big
Um,
that is.
yeah. Yeah. No. And that kind of tackles back to the question of, were you born at the right time? Well, and I feel like yes, man. I feel like your biggest superpower is your experience, man. Like me personally, when I look at you, that's what I really that's what I really rival at. Is like, dang, man, like he really experienced some stuff, like, and I can see it in your passion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that, to me, that's the dope thing. You know what I mean?
and it's funny because like I didn't know. Honestly, I'm gonna be real. I never felt like I got my flowers for a lot of stuff because like I was one of the mentors for like Hilton for making Blurcon.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I started one of the first Black Nerd podcasts back in '08 with
yeah.
a video game podcast called The Reset Button.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I've won multiple awards at this point. Like I have the like stats, but I don't have I feel like the social media numbers. And then
Yeah,
I used to worry about that until I started meeting people I looked up to
yeah,
in the industry. And like I know like some of the producers of the Insomniac Spider-Man game.
yeah. No, isn't
They
it?
have like 1,000 followers on social media. And I'm like, but you literally
You
like
never know, man. You never, and it's crazy. It is a crazy feeling when somebody that that you don't think knows you know you, and they be like, "Yo, I've been following you for a while." And you're like, "Damn, you've been following me." You know what I'm saying?
bro,
It is.
bro,
It's a crazy feeling, bro.
listen, I did a online Comic Con
Hmm.
and it was I was the guest on there. It was me, Jim Salicrup, who was one of the editors of Marvel, like Marvel Comics, and Todd McFarlane. Bruh,
That's
bruh.
crazy.
It's like one of my hero bruh. Listen. And when he started talking about the industry stuff and he
Hmm.
was talking about deadlines and this, that, the other thing, he looked dead at me and he was like, "You know what I'm talking about, Jay." I'm like,
It
I mean,
is.
yes, I do. And in the
You're
back of
right.
my head, I'm like, you see me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're
Nah.
Todd McFarlane. Like, you're on a whole, you're literally
Yeah.
a cultural icon in comics. Like, a whole icon.
And they know you, bro. So that's just a testament to the hustle, man. Real talent gonna outshine it, even if it's not getting the praise. People know it. People see it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know that car that's super durable out there that everybody knows in the neighborhood, but they don't talk to the person, but they know that car. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that's kind of because I've been in several rooms with you. I've see people. I've know people that I didn't think knew you, but know you. You know what I'm saying? I've told people about, yo, man, you got to go holler at J1, and they be like, oh, him right there. Oh, I know Jason. He did this and this and that for me. And I'm like, oh, okay, say less.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of people in this industry, and like from helping people create their own podcasts, all this other stuff that blew up, like way even more than any of my stuff. And it's funny because it's like people are like, will come to me like, have you heard of this? And I'm like, yeah, I taught him. Right. I showed him how to do that. I mean, yes, he's got like 1 million followers or something now, and like he's super famous. Yeah, I was the guy, like, and it's funny. It's like it's just weird. Like before the internet, not before the internet, but before social media, we had a forum on J1 Studios. Like we had remember the forums and stuff like that.
Yeah, forums. Yeah, I remember.
We had like 50 to 60,000 live people on that thing all the time, talking to each other, all this stuff. We would do contests, and people who would win prizes were from like Australia, South Africa. Like I'm like, y'all know who I am. Next, I end up putting out a tribute book, or 2 tribute books of fan art of just J1 Studios, like a J1 Studios fan art book of fan art from amateurs to professionals, from young to old, almost 300 pages from over 30 countries. Bro, I got fan art from Bosnia.
Nah, bro. I remember you showed me that book, and it inspired me.
I was like, Bosnia? I was like, I was rude. I was like, I didn't know they had internet. Like, yeah, like
internet. You didn't know they had the internet, and they was internet, right?
Right. Like I was getting fan art from Japan, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, like just everywhere. Wales, like just all different kinds of art too, like animation style stuff, paintings. There's people with tattoos of J1 Studios characters, like that I've never met.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. And then social media came out, and I was just really bad at that. So, like,
so social media was definitely trash from the transition from the streets to the internet was hard for people that were living without it for so long. Then we had to adapt to it. It's like, okay, even I loved having music CDs. So not having a CD, not having a physical thing is it took me a while to get used to it. You know what I mean?
It's weird. Like I want to sell like albums because we used to make music too at J1 Studios. We have a whole collection. I'm gonna announce that soon because I collected we have video game remixes that we made throughout the years.
That's fire.
And I put it all together, and it's like 70 something tracks or something like that from like Marvel vs. Capcom, like Donkey Kong Country, Legend of Zelda, Mario. We have like a Mario dubstep album that we did years ago. Like
dubstep out there, man.
So we're gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there for free. Make an announcement and like, hey, it's downloadable.
Hey, you know what, man? Quick question before I get into the next one. Right? It was it kind of it's pertaining to this inspiration thing, but when I be out with my friends and stuff, or just at events, I always meet somebody from the county, and they're always doing something like big. It's like something on a larger scale. And somebody asked me, what that was, and I want to know if this was like kind of one of the same things for you, because I know it was for me. When we, growing up outside the big city, it's like they're always looking like to tell us we ain't this or we ain't that. It's kind of like almost like we do what we do to outprove them. Like, okay, y'all don't think we can ball? Come to Lansdowne and ball. I'm saying, come out here, this and that.
Yeah.
Was that something? Is that something also that like burned a fire in you? Like, did you feel the pressure to be like, I'm from a small place, nobody really gonna know me out here, so let me just go crazy until I'm known in the places that I don't live at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to a degree. Okay, so people knew me for my art in the county. And then I moved to Plymouth Meeting. with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
We reunited, all that stuff, and then bought a house. Had it built, beautiful house. Kind of miss it. I was living out there, and I had all the studio space, like
Yeah.
to start like working, and I was networking with so many people. I was going to college around that time too. I had like 50 million jobs, so I was networking and like selling my work there, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I realized at some point though, because again, social media wasn't a thing. The internet was not a way to advertise just yet.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to move. So I moved to South Street
Mm-hmm.
because back then, especially the low numbers like 6 and South, that's where I moved
Yeah.
to. South Street back then was the mecca for art because you had Pearl Arts and Crafts store. It was like 3 stories tall, and literally like every medium that you needed was in that place. It was like a mall, almost like a department store for artists. So if you were a sculptor, a painter, comic book artist, or like a photographer, all that, all your tools and pens and markers and everything was there. And so like I was like, ooh, that's where I want to go. And that place, everything was mom and pop, you know, owned, and there was a lot of creatives. You met singers there, you met rappers there, you met other illustrators on South Street. Like there was a creative space back then. And I used to visit a lot. I was like, I need to move so I can be in the heart of it. And that's what helped me build my company. And that's when I started J1 Studios.
That's fire. That's fire. But yeah, it's that hunger because
and I built a whole scene for Philly, you know, like we didn't have like an actual anime scene. Like there were a few people hidden there all over the place who loved anime, but they had nowhere to go and nothing that was consistent. So I started making pop-up events monthly at rec centers to get people so that kids and all just nerds of all walks of life didn't have to roam the streets all weird.
Things got weird. I think Pokemon helped out. For my generation, Pokemon helped out a lot of that in the schools because everybody, the street cats, the nerds, the sports players, everyone was into Pokemon at a time, and it kind of brought a lot of people in. But before that, not many people were into Dragon Ball like that. Or
even in the county, when I was younger, I saw that stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't public. So I was showing people, I was like, yo, there's this show.
Yeah.
It's called Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
These fights. It's so cool. And they're like, this is weird. And then when it actually came out on TV like years later, people were like, yo, man, you ever hear about this thing called Dragon Ball? I'm like, get out of my face.
I ain't gonna lie, the first time I saw Dragon Ball, it used to come on Sunday mornings right before church. So I would be just eating my food, and it would be, I think Sailor Moon would come on too. I think
I remember that. They had that run of like Sailor Moon, and that was like 57.
I think it was Ronin Warriors because I had all the Ronin Warriors toys, man. I was a big fan of that. But I think it was like a little pocket.
Like 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning.
Before school.
Yeah. Ronin Warriors was fire, bro. And, you know, that Dragon Ball and stuff like that, I remember it clearly because it was right before church, and I would get up early. I mean, that was the only way I would get up early for church because I wanted to watch that. And I was up. I was getting it in, man. So, but now, man, me and you can talk about these inspirations forever, bro. But I'm gonna get to this next question. I'm kind of excited to see what you say with this one, man. What is your personal greatest creation?
Bro, I'm gonna be 100. I've created so many things.
But name one, bro. Come on, name one that's like. That's like that one that you like, I don't even know how I did this. You know what I'm saying?
I'm looking at all the titles and stuff right here. Like that's what these posters are, like different projects.
There can only be one. There can only be one, bro. there can only be one. What is the pinnacle?
See, Angel Savior was my first thing before I even created Super Bounty J1. Like before I created J1 Studios, I wanted to do a biblical. I wanted to do like a biblical action, like DBZ type thing, because there was something for little kids and something for adults, and like it came to Christian media, there was nothing in the middle.
You're right,
and that's where you always lose people. I was like, I made like a dope biblical story, and I was like, because there's so much violence in the Bible, like I ain't got to do much work. I just got to draw it. So maybe Angel Savior, maybe, or Super Bounty J1, because she's like, I gave a lot of Black women like representation in like this anime scene. I've seen people cosplay as her.
So if somebody said to you, if Nick Fury pulled up and was like, "Yo, I need one to save the world, man," which one is it gonna be? That you can be like, "This is it. This is the one that's gonna save the world."
I hate you, because like I want to say even VT Heroes, because I was making that card game.
That's a lot, bro.
Back when I was a kid, and it evolved. Even in college, it was called VTF, and the logo was almost the same. Like the V and the T, like the logo for VT Heroes is literally stolen from my first design. So like that came to fruition in a way like I've never seen before.
Yeah,
like that game, when I dropped it on Kickstarter, it got funded within half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked for a goal of just simple $500 and got like $10,000.
I seen it. I seen it in motion.
And then they gave me an extra $4,000 because they extended my Kickstarter. So I made like almost 15 grand after $500 goal.
That's $500, y'all.
And then because of that, it linked me with the Power Rangers. And then I started working with the Power Rangers.
Now it is what it is. So hey, listen.
And then I had my Stan Lee moment. That did give me my Stan Lee moment. I've had a few, but that was a real Stan Lee moment. I was on set watching the VT. I wasn't even directing or anything like that, but I got to be on set.
Yeah.
Stunt team watching them film a fight sequence of my VT heroes.
The heroes.
Like I'm just sitting there in the background, like,
could that be the greatest, man?
That might be.
Could VT be the greatest?
All of my things is like.
I think VT was one of my first introduction to you. You know what I'm saying? Seeing that as well. You know, really? I saw. Yeah, I think that was one of my first introductions to you. Was that? You know what I mean? At the time, you were pushing that kind of crazy as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And because it's funny. Before J1 Con, before making these games like VT Heroes, Rive Lame, and Flawless Archer, the comics in J1 Studios were dumb popular.
Yeah.
Like dumb popular. Like to the point where like I'd go to random places, and if I had a J1 pin on my shirt, because we didn't have shirts or anything cool like that, we might have a pin or something like that. People knew who I was because they knew the comics so well.
Yeah.
Like that was like it was.
And that's fine.
That's how I became friends with the animators over at Warner Brothers.
Now, would J1 then be considered your greatest creation?
Just like J1,
the house,
like the whole.
Yeah, like would it be the house that holds it? Yeah. Because I know a lot of these creations might predate J1, right?
Floating around, but like J1 Studios was like how I like fine-tuned to make the final.
Fine-tuned it and made it what it is. So I think J1 is your greatest, is one of your greatest creations, and I feel like for me I would probably say VT because I saw the impact that John had on, like, it was like, I saw you doing this, and then once you stood VT, it led to so many other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I started doing because at that time that was my new hotness.
Right.
Like everybody knew me for my comics and reviews and all that stuff, but then I stepped away for a while.
Right.
Was working on other stuff, but then I was like, the pandemic happened. The convention was super popular. That's what destroyed my creative side.
Yeah.
Because I started having to worry about the convention.
I remember you told. I remember the warning you gave me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it literally destroyed my creativity. So when the pandemic happened, I was like, I'm gonna do something creative. I'm gonna make a game
again. Yeah.
I'm gonna make a game. And man.
Yeah, I think the first time I met you, because I think I met you, the first convention I've ever done was Black Label. But I think and then my second time being able to vend was at your con in November after that. But I think I went to your con in 2018, but I didn't know who you were. Like I was just there just to check it out. I was trying to learn what it was to be a vendor. So I was there, and that's I was out there trying to learn a trade because I knew nothing about it at all. And J1 was in the vicinity. Me and my boy drove down there. I experienced it. This was when it was on the main floor. It had that little casino rug on the bottom of it.
Yeah, that was 2018.
Yeah. So yeah, man, and that's crazy, bro. And it kind of leads me into the next question, man. That I know people been hearing us, say this name a lot. And for those that don't know, let's get into it, man. What is J1 Studios?
I'm old. I'm drinking ginger ale. I gotta get my ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
I love some ginger ale, man. But J1 Studios,
fire.
You
ended up.
I got the wallet. Here's my. Oh yeah, don't let me flex on the J1 Studios.
There you go, man.
No,
I see you flexing as always.
There you go.
I keep these on deck. I keep these on deck, man. You know what I'm saying? I keep these on deck with me. You know what I'm saying? I got them with me at all times, man.
I got behind me is like my awards and stuff like that. And here you go, Super Bounty J1 right here.
Fire. So
man. J1 Studios. J1 Studios, I mean, is a production company. We wanted to make comics and I wanted to put out comics and stuff like that. But back then, again, there was no social media.
Yeah.
So it was 2006 when I started the company. Dude, the iPhone wasn't even out yet. You know what I'm saying? YouTube wasn't a thing yet.
That's a fact.
YouTube didn't come out yet. That's
a fact. So it's a testament to see that you still out here rocking, man. Because from that point, you had to make it through so many different transitions in media. From how media was translated.
Yeah, there was forums and all that stuff, and you had to get people had to sign up to join your forum and all this other stuff. And Discord is kind of like
ridiculous. Yeah. The original Discord was so trash to navigate, but you know what I'm saying? No, so tell people what is J1 Studio, what do they stand for, and what void are they filling?
Yeah, okay, so J1 Studios is, a production company. It's a nerdy production company. We make comics, we make games, we make novels, all that stuff. And everybody, I knew no one would believe or even care to read my comics when I first made the company. Because I made the company, and it was just me at first. Yeah. Everything I typed about J1 Studio said we, because I wanted to make it sound like we were this big corporation. But it was just me. And so I was like, how am I going to get people to care about me or what I'm doing with this stuff? So I was like, I'll make it a news company. We'll do news. Yeah. So I started doing news reviews and all this stuff, and that would draw people to read the articles. And then they'd be they see the tabs up there comics, click on oh, they make comics? You know what I mean? And then next they're reading comics. drop a movie trailer of like whatever popular movie, you know what I mean, or a review. They come in for that. Then they go looking around to see what else we got. And then, but the funny thing is, the name does not have to do with me.
Really?
Like a lot of people think the J in like is for Jason or me. Like no. Okay, Masami Abari. I was so obsessed with Masami Abari. He had an art book called, and I still have it, from the 90s. I have so many art books from these studios that are still from like 91, 94. Like still got them in, most of them in almost mint condition.
Yeah.
He had an art book called G1. And then one of the animation studios that he used to work with consistently was called JC Staff. So I wanted to be like Barry so bad.
Yeah.
I took the J from JC Staff, and I took the idea of one from G1, but they had it G-ONE. Okay. I didn't want J-ONE because then it looked like Joan. So I used the number one. And then the first iteration of the logo, I wanted to be so nerdy for myself. The logo was actually based off of the Autobot symbol. It was the same shape of Autobot symbol, but like grooves were cut out. And if you pay attention to the grooves, it was the J and a 1.
Okay, fire. That's fire.
So
and it's super convenient that your name starts with a J. So even if you wanted to cover it, you could be like, yeah, man, that's my name, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but people were like, oh, he's so arrogant. He named the company after himself. I was like, no, I didn't. And this went on for years. And then at one point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just kind of own it. And
because even if you did, what's the problem? What's the problem? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, now I look back, I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? I own the company. I'm the CEO. Yeah.
What's the problem, man? You know what I'm saying?
Well, a lot of companies, people don't even realize they're named after family pets,
grandparents and stuff,
like all that stuff.
Boats and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Right. So I changed it from J1. Now in my head stands for Jason will be number one.
Fire.
Not that I am, but that I will be. That way, I'm always moving forward.
Yeah, bro, that's fire. Now that leads me to my next question. Now, and for those of you that are watching this right now, look up J1 Studios, man, and all the amazing things that they've done and are still doing. But this is my next question for you, man. What were some of the obstacles you faced starting out and still face to this day?
I want to say initially, I dealt with a lot of issues with race. Because I was one of the few black folk, like as a public face to this industry, that especially when I started doing more of that, all like making manga and like having a Japanese convention, it's like, what do you know about anime? You're black. And I was like, well, I did help run an anime importing store, and I don't know, maybe I was the one.
What you doing here, huh, buddy?
With this stuff, so but now it's part of me is there's a couple things to it. It depends on what department you were talking about, because like everything is affected differently, but there's a lot of about to be a hot take.
Listen, bro. I mean, it's all. I mean, it's a Konkret Approved exclusive right here. You know what
I mean? I think the industry is muddled with a lot of nonsense, because there's a lot of people who are the stuff that is originally created. People like, all right, let's just say it raw like this. Everybody be online talking about they want representation.
Right.
But then when it come down to putting their money where their mouth is, they get quiet. And this is talking about our own people. Now, they'll jump on if we tokenize something.
For sure.
Because we have this thing deep in our mind where if it came from black folk, it ain't good enough. But if it came from white or Asian folk, then it must be like some serious stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, if I've had like successful Kickstarters and all this other stuff. I've worked on a ton of different projects. Like we have a Jaka Lost in Rome, the anime. Like what killed me was that like about 10% of the backers were black. Only 10%. After I've seen online how much people cry about representation in anime alone. I'm like, here's an anime about an African king and he killing white folk, and like it's two black studios, Spoof Animation and J1 Studios came together to bring this thing to life. With almost everybody is a person of color in the voice cast, even when they are white. I mean, like, there's like one is mixed but white passing.
Yeah.
My other one is like Native American but white passing, and so people, that's a white boy, so he ain't got he ain't gonna get no love in that.
I feel like kind of like you're saying, man. If like say for instance, if J1 was connected to one of these Japanese studios, it'd be through the roof. But because it's independence by itself, they're like, is it real? You know what I mean?
I'll give you a better example. If I said we were just gonna do a DBZ anime, but we were gonna make everybody black, I'd make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But if I created an original IP featuring black folk, I might not even make that money or any money from it.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I
see tokenized fan art doing a million times better than a lot of this original black IPs.
Original RP, yeah. And there's some fire IPs out there too. There's some fire IPs.
Bro, there's so many brilliant original IPs featuring people of color that our own people will just overlook. But if I throw an afro on Goku and turn him chocolate, all of a sudden everybody like, yo, you need to make a series of this.
No, that's a fact, man. And it's
I prove me wrong. Like I want people can get hot all they want. I literally work in the industry. I watch people do it.
So you know it's funny.
IPs who quit doing their projects just to do fan art and make it tokenized and made a bankroll.
Now I see exactly what you're saying, and I see a lot of that, a lot more of it online. In person, our people be coming out like at them cons when they see it, they're like, "Oh yeah, I need that." You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's different.
Once they see that it's the problem.
Once they see it, it's like, I need that.
That it's real. That's when they'll jump on it. Just like if they see a Kickstarter, they won't support it unless they see it's already funded.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's what happened. Like everybody, we put out the trailer. Everybody was like, "Yo, that animation is fire!" Blah 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 blah. Then I'm like, "Here's the link to the Kickstarter." They're like, let me get back to you next month. I'm like, it's a long campaign, bro. But then once I announced that it was funded, everybody like, "Ooh, let me jump on that real quick," because they want the shirts.
Parts.
Stuff. Like,
they want to
put
our people don't like to feel left out, and that's one of our biggest problems. Because I see it more so in the African American culture.
That's the only place I see it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, because overseas, like I got a lot of fans in the UK, and they just once they saw they were black characters, they were like, "I'm sold. I need it." You know what I'm saying? So no, I totally agree, man. It's definitely a conditioning, a mental conditioning that hopefully our people can get up out of, man. And I feel like it's such an overload of independent creations that the youth is gonna be out of it before the people our age and up will be. You know what I mean? For sure.
I see it as there's so much of a flood of already existing tokenization of IPs
Yeah.
that's we're gonna people are missing out on some real talent.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, why isn't this thing blown up? That's because you stupid behind ain't supporting.
You ain't
Like,
sure, man.
the only reason why we know who Captain America is, who Spider-Man is, because people supported that.
People supported it, and they told telling somebody to tell somebody.
In New York Comic Con, I was going to those spots. People don't even know Otakon was in PA. That was a PA convention. That was made by Penn State's Anime Club.
Really?
It was like a couple hundred nerds. It wasn't even big. It was in a Days Inn, player. A Days Inn. But
that's crazy.
Because our generation was all about support and helping everything grow. We helped it grow back then to what everybody knows Otakon now, like this big, massive convention.
Yeah.
And a lot of these newer generations think, because they grew up with conventions existing, they're like, oh, a good con is always big, even from the beginning.
Yeah.
No, New York Comic Con was in a tiny hotel in like a ballroom. Like, matter of fact, if they could go back and watch Chasing Amy, I believe that's New York Comic Con. That's a shot from New York Comic Con in the 90s.
Yeah.
In the beginning, where they're at the Comic Con, that's New York Comic Con.
Bro, that's funny as hell.
And it was a tiny little convention in a hall, like.
See, I never knew, because you see, the first convention I've ever went to was Wizard World in Philly. So my first con I saw was that one, and then I saw the Black Labels and I saw J1 Con. So my joint, I went from there to like, oh snap! But because you know who I am, y'all are Black owners. I said, oh yeah, I'm in there for sure.
Yeah, and even Wizard World was small back in the day.
Yeah,
like Wizard World was small and was like $30 to get in for the whole weekend.
Bro, that's fire. 30 to get in. Yeah, no, no, them joints the grip now.
And then back then they actually celebrated comic creators.
Yeah,
that's literally why it's called Comic Con. It's a comic convention. It's a comic book convention. That's why it's called Comic Con. And people forgot that that's what Comic Con is.
Yeah, it has evolved to a lot of things.
You used to have giant banners hanging from the ceiling in Wizard World, and it would point to the different artists. Like, it'd be like Todd McFarlane. It'd be like Jim Lee, Alex Ross. So you knew where they were literally the superstars, not the Marvel actors or anything like that. It was the people who wrote and drew the comics. If you were a writer or artist in comics, you were like Hollywood famous.
Bro. Yeah, and see, these are the things that I missed, man, because I never knew about Comic Cons growing up.
Back then, you could actually get a job with a studio by going to a convention, because they would have writer reviews and artist reviews. And like, I remember my homie, he's still doing art now. He does stuff he's done the comics for like Preston and Steve for WMMR and all that stuff. Back in the day, he would bring his portfolio to Comic-Con, and he would go up and they would have like review time periods, and it'd be a line, hundreds of people holding their portfolios, and they would present it in front of like, say, like Jim Lee and all that stuff. He'd go through your portfolio, like, oh, well, here you should probably think about working on your anatomy, work on your angles here, work on this, boom, 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 boom. And if your stuff was dope, they'd be like, talk to him right here, and that person would like literally hand you a card, and then you
that person and get real,
and you get right, and then after that you would actually have
that's real,
like
See
like
those.
interviews and stuff like that, where you end up working for Marvel or DC or whoever.
Bro, that is fire. And see, those were the days when talent really had to was a thing. Not really
Nowadays,
just who
it ain't
you
about
know, it was
it
talent.
ain't about talent.
Because it's the same thing with the music side. Like, you had to be able to spit. 16, you ain't need no beat, just raps. Let me
It's
see
right
if
there.
you got
They're like, show me what you got.
and then once they see you can rap, all right, can you make a song now? Let me hear that. Right now, it's just like how many followers you got? How much?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
many likes you getting per post? You know what I mean? And that's the trash thing, man. And it kind of leads me into my next question. This is actually my last question too, for sure. Because boys is out here getting it in, man. This joint could go on for 3 hours, man, for sure.
I'm sorry, but I didn't know we went this long, man.
We've been on it for an hour, bro. For an hour, man. Usually these joints like 20, 25, 35 minutes. But I ain't mad at it, man. I consider this is a special event right here, man. So for sure. But my last question for you, man, it's a real one. Do you have any regrets on your journey? Why or why not?
I mean, yeah. Please. Everybody has regrets. One of my biggest regrets, which is one of the driving forces for my career as of since I really started J1 Studios. Back when I was 16, I cut school with my best friend Kev, and we flew to Texas.
Jeez.
we were
talking about cutting school. What are you talking about?
Like we went like we y'all don't know how to skip school. Y'all skip school and just go to the park and play in the playground.
Man was out. Sheesh.
We wanted to go to this convention. There was this indie company called Antarctic Press. They do a comic that I've been reading the past 30 years, like literally consistently, called Gold Digger, by artist Fred Perry. And then they had Ninja High School by Ben Dunn. At Ariella, the Warrior Nun, there's a live action on Netflix that's based on the comic from Antarctic Press. Like, yeah. People don't even know. Like, even indie comics is out here. We indie folk is doing the thing, right? So they had a convention called Antarcticon, and we were like, we could actually go and try and meet them. And we were teenagers who lucked up on some cash.
Yeah.
And we were like, we should do it. We cut school all the time anyway, so it was like, and we would cut school to go to the library. This is how nerdy we were. We would go to the library, maybe the arcade. We might go to Pizza Hut. But every time we went somewhere, we went to like create. We skipped school, got on a plane, flew to San Antonio. Mind you, we were on a Penwood time. So we're in Delaware County, PA.
Right.
Fly to San Antonio, Texas. Right?
That's crazy, bro. I've never heard of a skip day this intense before in my life.
Right. And we got there. They accidentally sold our hotel room, so then they ended up giving us a presidential suite. They gave us this giant room with like it was like a McMansion. It was it was fantastic. I was blown away. But we got there, and I had my portfolio.
Yeah.
The convention, showed it to Ben Dunn, who was the CEO, and showed it to Fred Perry, who also is a huge inspiration on my art style as well. And I showed it to him, and they both loved my art and all that stuff. And they were like, "Can you draw mechs?" And I was like, thinking to myself, "Yeah, I used to draw Transformers all the time."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, I could." And he was like, "Do me a couple sketches and bring it down." Mind you, this is before the like really mobile internet age, so it's not like I could just Google up some images. I'm like, oh my gosh, what reference material do I have? None. Right. I'm 16. I freak out. I cowardly never show my face again.
Sheesh.
Come to find out, they wanted me because they liked how I drew people. My anatomy was on point. They loved my art style. They wanted me to be the artist the main artist for Robotech, because they had bought the rights to Robotech and they were looking for an artist. Bruh,
That's
Robotech,
crazy.
Macross, Robotech. I love Macross. Like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Everybody had Gundam. Nah, bruh. Robotech was my jam. Oh,
It's crazy. You never know. You never know.
ever since then, I will never run away from my opportunity.
For one, I want to say my mama would have had the CIA after me, bro. Like she'd have had Captain America after me. Like that'd have been some super soldier that was sent to find.
No, our parents knew at the last minute because we had already paid for the tickets, the hotel.
Yeah.
Everything. We just didn't have a car to go pick up the ticket.
Yeah.
We did it through a travel agency. So they were like, well, since you can't really do that.
Oh no.
They knew we were trying to like get in the industry. So they knew like, all right,
I dig that.
An opportunity. So everybody was like, all right.
No, that makes sense, because when I hear skipping school, I'm thinking like,
no, we totally did skip school and did all this stuff, but
a couple people knew. Yeah, you know what I mean, because I'm saying if y'all went and no one knew, that would have been crazy.
No, they knew. When I say at the last minute, like
right before y'all get on the plane.
My mom was like, "What?"
Sorry, mom. Gotta go, mom. Sorry, mom. Bro, that's crazy, bro. No, that's a fire story, bro. Everything about this whole conversation, man, is inspiring. I learned a lot, bro, and I gotta ask you to do one more thing for me, man. Drop some inspiration for the folks out here, man. For anybody that's looking to just be a creator, man, and chase their dream. What's something that you think they need to hear that you didn't hear when you were trying to become who you are?
Don't be afraid to lose. Like, don't be afraid to lose, because if you think you got to get something perfect, then you'll never win. You have to be okay with losing, because that's the only way you're gonna tell if you're succeeding.
Yeah.
And literally, like, take those L's, because those L's are just one step forward to winning.
This will be clipped, y'all. This will be inspiration. Make sure y'all join that Patreon, because I'm dropping this bar right in there, man, for sure. Nah, bro, that was a fire drawing, man.
I went from being homeless to creating all this stuff. I went from literally eating out of a trash can. I'll never forget, I ate a half-eaten burger out of a trash can under 69th Street Bridge, where I used to live. So now, people cosplay as me.
Major shout out to 69th Street, man, for sure. Right. Shout out to 69th Street, man. It birthed a lot of us, man. You know what I'm saying? No, but that's crazy, bro. And to see where you at now, like, if for anybody that's watching this, man, I want y'all to really dig into some of these questions, some of these answers that he did, man. Rewind it, watch it back, man, and think about your life and internalize what you're going through, and understand it's only momentarily. We all been through some ish, man, some crazy nonsense that we might not should be here right now. You know what I'm saying? But we here, changed our lives, we living lives, we family, man, we doing it all, man. And
this right here, it's not even a comic panel. Wow. This is all shots from the live action VT Heroes,
bro,
as a comic page.
Listen, man, you know what the dream of mine is, bro? For one day, us to collab, and you let Konkret produce VT Heroes, bro. You know what I'm saying? As a comic book, I think that would be fire. I'm a big fan of Power Rangers, stuff like that, but to create the own, let me know, bro. Talk to me nice later, man.
We need to collab anyway,
bro. That might be the joint, man, for sure. You know, you're gonna talk about that for sure, for sure, man. So. No, I really appreciate everything, man. Drop anything else you want them to know. Tell them about J1 Con coming up, and where they can find you.
Yeah, this November 3rd through the 5th, The third is more so just the late night prom, but the main convention is the fourth and the fifth. But yeah, come on out to J1 Con. It's at the Showboat in Atlantic City. The tickets right now for regular weekend passes are only $40. We are I think right now, we are we have the most voice actors at one convention over small to medium size compared to all the small and medium sized conventions.
Mm-hmm.
We have about 12 voice actors that's going to be at J1 Con. That's not even all the guests.
Yeah.
You can meet Lanzo over here at J1.
I'll be in the building for sure.
I got to
Turn
make
up.
that's a post that's coming up soon too.
I was gonna say, I think let's reschedule a specific Konkret Approved just for J1 Con. Go ahead. We talk about it, we post it, and I'll repeatedly share this joint on the social media, man, up until the day. So no, that's fire, bro. Man, I really appreciate you rocking out on Konkret Approved, letting people know what it is and giving them some inspiration to rock out with, man. Y'all know who I am. It's Lonzo Starr, CEO and founder of Konkret Comics. My man Jay Rich. These are the breaks, man. These are the breaks. We out of here.